When we turn around and we think about this grief, we're not educated about death and loss in our schools. And often nobody tells us what's going to lie ahead when we're going through this territory. I think we need to look at it at a number of levels. First of all, it affects us physically. Because at the physical level, what we actually find is that we actually carry our grief where we carry our stress in life. So if you're prone to headaches, it may be in your head. If you're prone to the poor old tummy aches, it may be down there. Or you may find it as a tightness in your chest. And we actually know from research these days that bereaved parents do carry a pain that is called heartache. So it's nothing unusual to feel that. One of the things we have to realize is that at a physical level, every tissue of our body has actually absorbed this loss, this grief. So we can feel as if we've had a bad flu, that we're full of aches and pains, that we're lethargic, we've lost our mojo. These are all normal reactions at a physical level. We think about it in terms of our behaviours. We often feel we just want to crawl away and close the curtains, stay at home, let the world go away. And that's okay, but it's also important to be able to engage in life a little bit. One of the things we find with that is often our sleep pattern that gets affected. You know better than I that how many times you get to bed at night and you're so exhausted you go early. You see the clock tick to 9, 10, 11, 12. We may find ourselves heading to bed early because we're exhausted. And instead of falling asleep, we find ourselves noticing the clock go to midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Often it's because we've actually held back all our feelings and all the thoughts about our loss for the day by keeping busy. And it's almost as if a switch comes on at night, almost as if we replay the video of what happened, how it was, the offence of the loss. We have become fragmented like a jigsaw with this loss, and it's as if we try to take all the pieces and try to make sense as we're falling asleep. One really good thing that we can do for ourselves with this is to actually make an appointment with our grief in the daytime. All we have done all day is we've held back the dam of grief and loss. When it's quiet at night, it all floods in. If we make an appointment with our grief in the daytime, maybe sitting at the kitchen table, having a coffee, taking down a photograph, listening to a piece of music, maybe sitting on the tractor on the headland at the top of the field, or actually stopping in the lay-by or at the office desk before we come home. And just allow ourselves to be with our grief for 5 or 10 minutes. Nothing prescriptive, but actually so often bereaved parents will say, I got up and I actually had a smile on my face because I remembered some precious memory that hadn't come to mind before. If I were to turn around and say to you to do this for an hour, you'd say she's crazy. But pause, just in your day, for 5 or 10 minutes, when you want to. Don't be over strict on yourself, and allow yourself to look at it in that way. Often what you find is that the sleep pattern at night begins to improve. The other thing you realize is that instead of grief controlling you now in your life, that you actually are learning to manage grief, that you are the one in charge. You can meet it when you want to, and you can actually take time away from it when you feel it's too much. Time away by doing something ordinary that you might have done before this happened. But the crazy thing with grief is, tomorrow morning you'll feel guilty for having done that because you feel you had too nice a time. That's the craziness of guilt, of grief. The other thing that we find with it is that in terms of behaviours, our appetites can get affected. We find that we may be overeating. We're emotionally hungry. We're trying to feed an emotional loss that we have. And we don't know how to quite satiate it. Or we may find that we just avoid food. When you think about it, the world with grief is so different than the world we knew before. The colour's gone out of it. The zest for life is gone. With that zest for life gone, so is our zest for food.